What's up, guys? Welcome back to Absolutely. I'm Hassan. That is Sal, and we're here to talk about the Stranger Things Season 4 finale, but also the season, because we missed out a little bit. We're a little bit behind. Don't worry, we watched it as soon as it came out. Both of us did, and I've actually watched it a second time since then. So nice. I have many thoughts on what I think might be one of the most incredible seasons of television that has come out in this last year. And I want to say we can commentate on the discourse, because a lot of people had opinions on like, hey, this is why this sucked. They should have done this. And it's like, you don't know anything. So we're going to talk about that. But hey, if you're here and you like drinking G Fuel, you like a little bit of energy, you can go use code COMICS when you're checking out G Fuel for 10% off. Really comes in handy. I need G Fuel to be awake in time for this show. This is the earliest thing I wake up for in my life as a YouTuber who puts his hand up in Mickey Mouse Puppet. And then two, we're trying to get a bunch more subscribers. So if you're just like lurking, I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you're lurking, you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It's a fun community to be a part of. But yeah, Sal, immediate thoughts on like the whole back half, because we only talked about half
the first
of part
two episodes.
One,
we
first
did
four.
half.
We did the
first four
four of volume 1.
Yeah, and we were waiting, I think, at that point for like the last 2 episodes to drop.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did our discussion early because you hadn't seen the last 4 of Volume 1. So we still have last 4 of Volume 1 to talk about, and then the last 2.
And then the latter half, yeah. I mean, it was a great show. I loved this season. I had a blast. It forced my wife and I to go back and rewatch the entire series again, which we were thrilled to do. It was in no way a slog. It was
what an incredible benchmark of like a good show too, to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, and I hear people talking about it all the time. You know, they're like, oh, I rewatched The Office for the 10th time. And I'm like, what? And I don't know if I'm going to rewatch Stranger Things every Halloween or anything, but I will probably rewatch this entire series again sooner rather than later.
Oh, my God, yeah.
It's because I like everything about what they're doing. I just saw, this is an unrelated tangent, but I just saw an interview with David Harbour where he's talking about like a look back on the whole show. And I don't know why I relate to David Harbour, maybe because I'm a heavyset dude who's close to his 40s. But he talked about making like the first season and how it was like making an independent film. Because like nobody believed in them, no one cared. There was a rumor that the Duffer Brothers sucked and they didn't know what they were doing and everything they made was garbage. Wow. And so he was just like, good, like, all right, like, this will be a failure for me, but at least it'll be a fun learning experience and I get to work with Winona Ryder. Right. And like the show dropped on a Friday. By Sunday, it was the biggest thing in the world. And now like a season 4, like every weekend, the Netflix executives would like fly on private jets to visit, like, and come onto the set and be like, hi, everybody, how's it going? Everybody happy? Everything going well? Like, and just how like he kind of misses that kind of original feeling of the season 1 like camaraderie, was like it's just a bunch of folk in the woods just shooting this thing that may or may not ever be a thing that anyone watches, and now it's like a Marvel movie basically.
It is, but you know what, to their credit, it still looks really beautiful.
Yes,
because recently, you know, people are filming in the round room, and while the CG and the green screens look better, they don't look as good as like, you know, you're in the forest. And I understand sometimes the universe, our planet isn't another planet, so it's hard to film what you want. But you know, when you can, it's great. Stranger Things still does it indie. Like I have driven through some of the locations in Atlanta, Georgia, in Rome, Georgia, where these are filmed, and they look like it. It's awesome. Like the Vecna house is in Rome.
That's awesome.
And it looks fantastic. It's so cool. But yeah, they go practical when they can, and the show just looks incredible. And I think there's also a lot of love that's put in. So David Harbour was also talking about how he was simultaneously filming Black Widow, where he was in a Russian prison. So while he was filming that, he got requested permission from Marvel. He was sending the Duffer Brothers pictures of the set. So he said, don't make this look anything like this. And then originally he was supposed to have a long beard and longer hair. And he goes, no, I don't want that because I have that in this other movie. Yeah. And then, dude, he lost so much weight in this movie. Yeah. I mean, oh my God. He looks absolutely incredible in this film.
No, he looks good. I mean, well, and what's great is he doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, he doesn't look like he had a personal trainer that like jacked him up. He looks the way you might look if you were forced into a Russian labor camp in the 80s to just like hit pylars into the ground, you know, like it's
I would say he's a smidge more fed than he would be, but that's about it. That's about the only difference, because like his muscular physique, it's not, you're right, it's not Marvel movie, which is great. I also like, that's a body type that like if I want to aspire to have one, I think that's a more aspirational body type.
Absolutely. No, I think that it was it's also just it was more realistic, and it worked into the context of the show. It wasn't like they kept him fed and they left him in another room, and so he was just David Harbour from season 2, the whole time. Like, no, he looks good, but he also looks like the sequence in which he and Joyce finally get together, and like, no spoilers or anything. I'm just kidding. We're gonna spoil the whole show. But when they finally like, meet up physically and she sees him, she's like concerned. She's like, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, I kind of lost some weight. But it's like, I don't get it as a kind of like, I'm hot now. I got that as kind of like I'm malnourished and I have like diseases. Like, I need help.
Yeah. Oh my God. And also like their chemistry.
Oh, God.
Good fucking Lord. The chemistry's insane because there's other things going on in this show that I don't care about anymore.
Yeah.
like Nancy, Steve, Jonathan's love triangle. I love Steve. I actually like Jonathan, and I like Nancy as an independent character. Yeah. Nancy, in the confines of any of her relationships, is a very selfish, mean-spirited person.
That's fair.
And Jonathan is also selfish in his relationship, and like he's he's not a great partner. Steve's great. There's nothing wrong with Steve.
Steve's
Obviously,
great.
We're throwing out season 1 Steve. Steve is perfect. Oh my God, I love that
Steve.
mix.
No, rewatching season 1, I'm like, I get Steve's motivations when he is the heavy, like when he's just like a jerk, but I'm like, I get why he's doing these things. Like and then he grows and changes, and he's like the only character who does, where he's just like, I'm new now, like I'm a different person.
Yeah. Dustin gets a little bit more of a, throughout the show, I think he gets a little bit more pride. He's a little cocky towards the end.
I'm a little worried about Dustin. I don't know about you, but like, I've noticed that the last 2 seasons, they were very comfortable separating Dustin from the group.
Yeah.
And I get this impression that that's here to stay, and that like Dustin isn't going to blend back into the team, and I'm kind of like not excited about that. I don't know. I felt this kind of like separation from him and the rest of the boys, and I get that like he kind of fits with Steve and everything, but I don't know. I'm worried. I don't want to see Dustin be like, I'm better than you.
Yeah. I don't think I don't feel like you would ever say that to the boys. Like, no. I think the main thing is like it's the bit with Steve and Eddie where he's like, it's the tone, right? Like, why does he talk like that? How dare he speaks us like that? It's so funny, which is a fantastic bit in itself. But I think Dustin, he's just not around the boys right now, and they're so separated. Oh my God, half of them are in Lenora, California, driving up to the Nina project, and the other half are dealing with Max being Vecna'd or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, we can talk about some of the plot lines leading up to it. The bully plot line had an incredible payoff, I think, all the way through to the end.
I thought people got pretty upset that it was that it was almost off screen how it wrapped up.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it because it diminishes the bully in such a strong, profound way. Like, it just makes him go like, yeah, he sucks. And he pales in comparison to the actual problem.
Right. And I like that he had like a pretty gruesome, violent death because I hated the character a lot.
Right.
But he's meant to be Hawkins' hero. So in his own world, in his own mind, like he is the hero of that story.
Totally.
And he, tragically died. That final scene, I think that is a scene that people had a ton of issue with. They were really, really angry about because they're like, you should have just killed Max. That would have had a bigger punch, which I was like, no. Saving Max was the move. They're like, the Duffer Brothers, they're just too fucking weak. They can't just kill off their characters. They don't know what they're doing. How much better would the scene have been? Like people on TikTok pointing at fucking text above their head going, How much better would the scene have been if they actually killed Max? And it's like,
no.
Nah, she's crippled now. The fact that they broke her legs and they made her go blind, hopefully the blind part gets fixed. Because that's
the thing, right? Like, I was like, oh, God, we're going to do this now. Like, when she went blind, and I was just like, okay, so the next season she's going to be blind. And we're going to have to deal with that. I don't mind that the idea of her having a disability and having to overcome it, but, like, it's more the fact that after 4 seasons, we've come to know these characters. We've come to love them. Like, how dare you hurt my darlings? Max has gone through so much shit.
More than any character on the show times 10, honestly. Right? I mean, maybe like, Will, who lived in the Upside Down for a few weeks. But
poor Will. Yeah, Will needs to be checked out. Like, Will may have some kind of, like, internal problem. But also, plus, like, the ever-growing, internal conflict of his love for Mike. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I've confirmed multiple times now by everybody on set. He's
confirmed
gay
by his performance.
Confirmed by his performance, which also confirmed by writing since season 1.
Yeah.
Since season 1, his dad was calling him the F slur, and he
Yeah.
didn't like playing baseball. And there was like little things here and there that it's like, he didn't understand me, whatever. They've been planting seeds. Will's a little bit different. He's always been a little bit different. They've been referring to him, which, you know, I don't think sexuality should come into play for a bunch of children, but
No.
the fact that like we're thinking that young, and they're planting the seeds that grew into this tree that like Will is gay. They do 2 shots, which are the most homophobic shots in media in this season. One where Will is standing out of focus between Mike and Eleven, kissing and like huddling, and then they do it again with Robin in between the girl she likes and the guy.
I know.
Just, again, out of focus. It's an incredible scene.
So sad, but thought what goes in overall. The amount of attention to detail and effort that goes into this, despite the fact they forgot Will's birthday, but like,
right.
You know, the amount of like work and effort, it's the kind of thing you want to see in everything that you like read and watch. I don't want to see everything be science fiction or, you know, kid oriented, but I also want to see them have the kind of love and care for the characters that they're making and for the stories that they're in, and to have it be authentic and to have it be earned. Like Dustin and his journey is worth it and valuable, but also so is like Will and Jonathan's relationship as brothers.
Oh my God. They wrote that scene on the spot.
I heard,
so they filmed the initial him looking back at the car scene, and they're like, they need a moment. And that I cried. I cried so much during that moment, because it's just like, Mike's not doing something inherently wrong. I mean, Mike in general is just kind of a nothing character in this season.
Mike's a tough character. Yeah, Mike's a tough character overall. Like, we'll get into him in a second. You can finish your point.
Yeah. Well, you know, Mike's not doing anything inherently wrong, so it's not like anyone needs to be reprimanded, right? But he needs to be comforted. In that little moment, it's like, we don't talk that much, but I'm still here. Like, I'm still your brother. Because Jonathan doesn't get a ton of agency this season. I think this is the season where he gets to do the least. Yeah. And he's finally separated from Nancy. And he has a great scene partner in Argyle. I love that character dynamic. I think he's really fun.
Yeah.
So to have him sober up, get off the green for a second,
please,
and then take care of his homie.
Exactly. No, I kind of like Argyle. I like the idea of everything kind of coming back home and being in Hawkins, and I love the idea of Argyle being like, yeah, I guess I live here now. Like, I'm part of this community now. The Mike thing is a tough nut to crack, because Mike starts out being like, I don't know if I want to give them this much credit, but Mike is very much the byproduct of his parents, right? Mike is a like upper middle class white kid from 2 clueless Republican parents.
True that.
I speak a lot to that, because outside of the upper middle class, I am that, and so I understand like Mike's cluelessness and lack of empathy, because who's gonna teach it to him? But his friends do, and he has enough and how is Nancy so empathetic, regardless of, like, you know, Mike's divorcing of his ability to connect with anybody. I feel like there's some real potential here for Mike, where it's like, no one has ever held Mike to task for his bullshit, and he needs that. But Mike also is kind of like, well, things just come naturally. Like, I count on 3 square meals a day, and my own room, and comfortable sheets, and, you know, whatever clothes and toys I want. And it's like, dude, you know, these people need you to understand where they're coming from, and to like feel their feelings, and to meet them halfway. And he doesn't do that. And I don't know if it's because they're like, well, we're just more interested in making Eddie a character than we are to focus on Mike. I don't know. Yeah. But I hope that we do address it, because Mike's a dick.
Mike is a dick. Mike is a dick. He's uncharismatic in the dickishness too. He's not like, which I don't think, I'm not blaming Finn Wolfhard or even the Duffer Brothers. Like, maybe they have a greater plan in mind for him. I mean, he's not a central character. Like, his storyline is only a mechanism to move the plot forward, rather than like, he's not developing much during the sequence. He has a whole moment where he like realizes his love for Eleven, whatever. It's like, it's growing pains. It's kind of nice, because it's really earned as far as like the relationship dynamic is concerned. Yeah. But he's not Dustin. He's certainly not Lucas, who goes through hell and back during the season.
Absolutely.
Right?
So everyone in this show, like even the mom, who I think was in one shot of this season, but there's a great sequence where Mom and Nancy interact, and it's like that sequence is fantastic, and it informs so much of who she is as a character. And why I'm frustrated that Mike still lacks the ability to connect with human beings.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everyone has some kind of arc or at least some kind of like depth, and Mike is just what you see is what you get. Mike never apologizes. He never and when anyone pushes back, he pushes back harder.
True.
And it's like, that's cool because that's a character who has never exited their bubble, despite the fact that he's been on like, 4 world-changing adventures and is boyfriend with a superhero?
He's just like a non-popular Steve Harrington season 1.
Right. Like, he's like if Steve never had the journey. Like, he never got the opportunity to be a hero. But Mike has had 4 major opportunities to be a hero, and he only does like the most superficial stuff. I don't want to make this the Mike cast, but like, I feel like Mike is a fascinating character who actually is real, but needs to have like a, like a come to Jesus moment where it's like, I'm a dick. And I've been doing it wrong, and I've been a bad friend, and I'm sorry. Like, Mike has never apologized.
Yeah, he gets kind of there with Will, but not really.
Not really.
Because Will decides to comfort him instead. I guarantee, Eleven didn't commission that painting from Will. I guarantee Will made it just because he's in love with Mike.
Yeah.
And they take that away from him, which it just is just so infinitely just a frustrating moment after moment.
Yeah, it's so sorrowful. But like, yeah, how do you want to approach this? Because we could just hit every character and be like, yay, like 11's awesome. Joyce didn't have much to do in this season.
we could just go through just overarching at this point, because it's just kind of like there's a lot that happens. Every episode of the show is a movie now, which I'm okay with. I'm actually more than on board with, because they deserve it.
Totally.
I think one of the other bigger complaints is you stop introducing characters just to kill them off. And I do think like, hey, into season 1 is Barb. Season 2 is Frodo.
Frodo.
Not Frodo. Not
Sam.
Frodo. Samwise.
Sean Astin.
Samwise. Sean Astin, right? And then season 3 is season 3 was Billy.
Yep. Even though Billy was like a monster.
Yeah, Billy was a terrible monster in season 2. A lot of people think he's redeemed, but he's just.
By the way, really quick aside about Billy, because like I love how like they give you this like flashback, like, oh, look how happy Billy was and he lost his family, blah 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 blah. He's also a racist though. Mm-hmm. It's like the moment
that mom who's having a sweet moment to him was also probably like, "Don't touch the black kids at the playground, like, Billy."
It's like that moment in Community when Britta's like, "I can excuse racism, but you can excuse racism."
I draw the line at animal cruelty.
Right? You can excuse racism. Like that's what Eddie is a piece of shit, and I don't care. Like, you know what? Monsters are formed from trauma. I get it, but Eddie, he is a fantastic character though. Like he's a solid character.
Yeah, he absolutely.
No, I'm sorry,
is.
Eddie. Billy.
Billy's solid. They obviously retcon the racism and they stopped touching on it, and that's an interesting choice, right? But Billy or Eddie's a whole different breed, because he's the 80s scumbag, which he's based on like a real life group of people apparently, which is interesting. Who were wrongfully accused. I didn't know D&D had such sprawling history in the United States being satanic, and it just goes to show of how stupid people are these days, because it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's weird to see parallels, because sometimes I watch a show in my brain, it's like an 80s show, even though it's obviously an 80s period piece, but it wasn't filmed in the 80s. Right. But every once in a while I'll be like, hey, that's kind of like modern day right now. It might be intentionally so.
I feel like it is. Yeah, these guys are smart enough to do that. Yeah.
They are. So it's, I was sad Eddie died, but I think the cast is too big right now.
Same. Did you see the thing that I did where it was like the Duffer Brothers are like, we love creating new characters, but like we're trying to dial that back for the last season because like we're going to Hawkins and we need to like really focus on the characters that like you love and that we've made here.
Right.
I entirely agree. And normally I'm like, dude, what's up with the new like every time, but when Max was introduced, and I always associate her with being like a new character, and it's like, what was she in season 2?
Yeah.
She's not that new,
Yeah, she's not. She's been there, like literally they had their first adventure and then they had little Max. Like the little flashback sequence when she's in Vecna's mind, you going through her aging. I was like, oh my God, they were children. Which is crazy to me because I'm 23, right? Sadie Sink is 20.
Right.
I'm 3 years difference in age from her, but in my brain, she was just like such a small child. Because I think when I was watching it, I was probably a freshman in high school.
Totally.
And 3 years younger is like a fifth grader, basically. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like just enough, like a fifth grader, sixth grader. So it feels worlds apart. It's mind boggling. And the performances, oh my God, she's the standout performer of the season.
She deserves, if like Max Mayfield, Sadie Sink is. Everyone's great in this show. Everybody does such a great job. I feel like Lucas uses his arms. I feel like he moves his hands too much. But
Max, we gotta save you.
Right, okay, you did notice it. I think he's a great actor. I would love for him to play Static in a Static movie one day. But like,
oh, dude, he'd be so great at that.
Right? But Sadie Sink is like an actor. Like, watch her. Like, I'm not talking to you. You already know. But like everybody else, watch her act. Like, watch her in a scene. You can see her listening to what the characters are saying and thinking about how she'll react, but she already knows what she's going to say. Like, she is reacting. She's so a real good actor.
I feel like this clip right here of us saying this is gonna, in 10 years, it's gonna be just like, well, yeah, of course it's Sadie Sink. Why were they saying it then?
Yeah,
it's
she's
like,
she won 2 Oscars. Like, yeah, I know.
She probably win 10 by then.
Yeah.
Well, and whether you guys are Taylor Swift fans or not, the All Too Well music video is an incredible. It's the All Too Well 10-minute version.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch because Sadie Sink is playing Taylor Swift and Dylan O'Brien is playing Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's an abusive, toxic relationship, but the way it's played out, virtually dialogueless up until the end,
right?
It's just like a really, really powerful thing.
Yeah.
And the whole scene they have in the kitchen is improv. A lot of the greatest moments of Stranger Things right now too was improv. Joyce and Hopper's initial kiss is improv.
Yeah.
There was another key moment that was also improvised, and then someone was like, "What the fuck? These duffers even writing, bro?"
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You tell me all the shit we love was improv, because people really hate. I'm very confused with the online, feelings towards this season and just this show, because there's a lot of hate thrown around.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't understand it anymore.
No,
the only character that I don't like is Erica, but I think I just don't like Erica. It's not because Erica is bad. I'm not a fan.
I like Erica. She's, I like Erica now.
I didn't
really
like her season 3. I liked her more this season for sure.
Yeah, I really hope she's part of the group, and it's one of those things where I didn't like Erica, but because she was like, what are you doing here? You're disrespecting all my favorite characters, and you have nothing to show for your cockiness. And now I'm like, yay, Erica! Like now I'm okay with Erica being like part of the team.
When Lucas is screaming for Erica to come help when he's holding Max's body, chills.
Yeah.
I just got chills. I literally just got chills thinking about that, because it's such a powerful scene. That broke my heart. Like, they didn't win. They lost. Hawkins fell.
Yeah.
Which is like, Vecna told you guys at the end of the volume 1 finale, Vecna said, "I will destroy you." And then Vecna fucking did it.
Yeah.
Which, guys, I just remembered I need to correct some stuff that I said before. And I was purposely trying to lead Sal off the trail by saying Robert Uglin was playing Vecna. I didn't want him to. I wanted you to not have any whiff of the reveal that one was the guy. I hope I helped a little bit with that, because people in the comments like, "How are you fucking dumb? I mean, don't you know the finale?" I was like, I did it on purpose. I'm not an idiot. I was trying to lie.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, and I did fall for it, because I was like, that seems cool.
He's in monster makeup. That makes sense.
Exactly. No, but the dude who plays Vecna, who also, of course, plays one, great actor, did a fantastic job.
Bone chilling. The way his facial structure changes when he goes from like, "Hey, let me help you, Levin," to,
"Oh,
I need to kill." It's like, whoa. And he's a monster. He's a true to form, a freak of nature, awful thing. Fun fact, by the way, young Vecna, we're mutuals on TikTok. The little guy, Ralphie Lucas, and I, we were DMing the other day about this, which was just
awesome.
random. He showed up my feed. I was like, "Oh, it's Vecna." And then it says, "follows you." I was like, wait, what? That's awesome. This is crazy. But
dope.
He's a super sweet kid. And I think the kid is talented too, because the kid's acting mirrors the adult Vecna so well. His just that very somber, like the eyes looking up, just like really still. But
that was so great when it pays off later, because you're just like, the kid got traumatized, and it's like, oh, that is him. Like, oh, that's amazing. Like,
he's a monster.
Yeah.
The kid is literally just a true to form freak of nature monster. That's what Vecna is. And
and by the way, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Well, I was going to say, by the way, like, it's not like they're really breaking the mold. He's not like a new monster. This isn't like something we've never seen before. But it's so rare to see tropes, concepts that we're familiar with, or just like, true to form movie monsters being executed so well and so expertly within a genre piece. Like, this whole thing is a genre famous bowl of like references and stuff, but it ends up being its own thing. The closest thing I can liken it to is a Tarantino movie, because like Tarantino just takes everything that he's seen and then just regurgitates it into a new product that is also stylistically engaging and dope. And they're doing the same thing with this show, where it's like it takes pieces and elements, and of course, like, I mean, you know, like when the carnival sequence from the last season when is Terminator, you know, it's like, oh, the Rush guy's the Terminator, and I see what you're referencing in here,
which is
like,
a fantastic moment too,
right? But it's like fun, and it becomes its own authentic thing because the characters are so well. I really is, this whole thing is a character study, and the whole thing is just like that. I think that's why the actors' improv is so good, and why and why like movies that are predicated on improv don't work as well, because these guys are like, look, I've been working on this show for 10 years. Like, I know who this character is, and I know what they would say. That in the framework of like a well-written story that gives them the opportunity to say something authentic like that is such a perfect recipe for expert drama and solid improv. Like, that's how you get those moments.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense to be just like a playground for these actors who have, thank God, been able to live in these characters for 8+ years now.
Yeah. And
it's a high budget thing, so they get to just like move through the story so beautifully, in my opinion. I also want to say a little bit of continuity. A lot of people, like, they're just, you know, the Duffer Brothers are just putting the plot together as they go kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Here's a little thing. This is Vecna's concept art. Right? This is the initial concept art when they concepted him out in season 1.
Yeah.
This is the creature that kidnapped Will.
Yeah.
Now, originally, that's a Demogorgon. Have we ever seen a Demogorgon kidnap a kid?
No.
Have we seen them do anything other than eat, kill, and be monsters?
Yeah.
No. So it's like, potentially, that was Vecna.
No,
they just different looking, but
they gave themselves these opportunities to pay off stuff. Like the clock sound effect. It's probably not a clock when they were making the first season, when you'd hear, like, every time they'd go to the Upside Down or go near it, or there was a Demogorgon or a Demodog, you'd hear that, like, that gong. And you know that, like, that's probably, they didn't think they were going to do the clock plot, because I don't think they planned it out that far, but they paid it off because they paid attention to what they were making, and they were like, ooh, doesn't that sound like a clock to you? Or maybe like the sound effects department was like, we used a clock for that. Like, clock, we could use that thematically over here. That's how you make sequels. You look at what you made that was like an original product, and you go, are there elements here that can be paid off that aren't just like superficially exploitative? That's what this show does. Like, Vecna is earned. Am I a little disappointed that Vecna is not the sub-boss to the Mind Flayer? A little bit. Like, I do wish the Mind Flayer were its own thing, but also,
Well, is it implied that it's not? I don't know if they fully confirmed that he's not.
They probably did. I'm sure they haven't, because
I think like that was Dustin being like, Vecna's the 5-star general to the Mind Flayers. This the mind, like we don't understand the Upside Down yet. The Duffer Brothers said that they're going to talk about, and how they left a note that's very specifically, the Upside Down is stuck in 3 years ago. Like, time is frozen there. It's still that time. So why is it that?
Right.
Why is Hawkins suddenly connected? Because Vecna, in theory, was pushed there before then, like a few years before that.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? And when you see the Upside Down, when Vecna's flying through it, it's a hellscape.
Yeah.
Right? It's not Hawkins. So the Duffer Brothers have been planting seeds, and I think we're gonna get a lot of lore drop into season 5. Like, what the hell? What the hell is the Upside Down?
Totally.
What is this thing? And then we'll discover, like, what is this hive mind? Is it the Mind Flayer? Because the Mind Flayer is still on Earth too, in our world. In Russia, they have him in the freaking containment tube, which I didn't remember when I'd watched it previously, but on a rewatch recently, I was like, oh my God, what the hell?
Yeah.
Which Russia? God damn it, Russia.
I know.
Idiots.
I know.
You idiots.
A lot of people are complaining about the Russia plot. I really enjoyed this one, and it was like, you know what the thing is, and I think I get why people are frustrated or like complain about a lot of the things that happen in the show, not just this season but overall. And it's not a lot of genre pictures or franchise movies and shows infuse genuine tension, like the way you'd get in a Stephen King or just fun, like, trashy novel, where your characters are teased to get what they want, but then they don't get it. And you go, no, but I wanted my favorite character to get what they wanted, and the audience and the story is like, well, they haven't earned it yet, so we're not going to do that. Like, all I wanted was for Hopper to go home. And he gets to the church and he's eating the peanut butter, and you're just like, finally. And then he gets to go back, and I'm like, no, like, it's so. And I can imagine if you're like not if you're 19 and you're conditioned on like Marvel movies and and whatever else, you're probably like, oh, but he just got back. That's bad storytelling. And it's like, no, you feeling frustrated is what the story wanted you to feel. That's good storytelling.
Absolutely. And then they go back a third time.
I know. That I was like, all right, come on. Like,
but, I mean, it leads itself to maybe one of the coolest action sequences of all time.
I love that he gets this big, silly He-Man sword. I'm like, this is so dope.
And it's a fire sword! Yeah. And he kills a Demogorgon! And then when... Oh my god, he's my favorite character on the show, and I'm forgetting his name right now. What's his name? His conspiracy theorist friend. Conspiracy theorist man, which I love him. Oh my god, I love him. Him with the flamethrower, his acting, he is leagues above this cast too. It's not leagues above, but like, oh my god, how can they afford these people? Like, I feel like these people all need to be like Robert Downey Jr. level affordability because they're so good.
Yeah, no,
how are they this good?
Yeah, it's Murray.
Murray. Yeah. And then someone in chat, and because we stream this live on twitch.tv/Comicstorian, it just said, also Metallica, Master of Puppets. The fact that Eddie Munson, like the actor who played him, had to learn to play the guitar for that sequence, or learn to play that riff for that sequence, which he's gone on stage with Metallica and played it since, which is incredible.
So cool. Good for him.
Yeah, oh my god. And a lot of people fell in love with Eddie, and I like that they fell in love with Eddie. I think that, into season 5, I would be shocked if they're not going to do a Naruto Edo Tensei arc, as in everyone who's dead is back.
I think you're absolutely right. No, I think about it. We may have talked about that in the last episode, but I was thinking part of the reason why Hawkins is stuck 3 years ago is so we can go back and bring everyone back. Like, so we can bring back like Sean Astin, we can bring back Eddie, we can bring back like Barb, and we can get everyone back. We can and just have them be in this either Vecna like resurrects them and makes them like a twisted member of his army, or we can unmake some of the mistakes of like which by the way are not mistakes. I do genuinely believe that like there's something good about killing these characters off and being like, it's okay to miss them. Dude. That's why you liked them. I
would love so you bring back all the characters as Vecna's 5-star generals, right? You give them power, you make them evil, right? Yeah. But somehow they have to kill the first couple, so you have to kill Bob. Bob can't come back.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
you can't because we don't really want to. I don't want a love triangle. I want Hopper and Joyce, and I don't want anyone to touch that.
Totally.
Right? You bring back Bob. You somehow bring back Papa as a monstrous freaking crazy villain.
You gotta bring him back.
You bring Papa as a pet for Vecna. Put him on a chain like the Batman Who Laughs Robins.
Yes,
that'd be so cool. Yeah. And then you kill off the ones you kill off Sean Astin, and then they figure out, what if we purify them?
Yeah.
What if we can get our people back?
Right.
And then you bring them back. That'd be kind of cool. And then I think a lot of people would be like, it's so unearned. People that died. It's like, so what?
You know
Fuck
what?
You
like,
guys.
I'm not. I'm watching this show because I love this world and I love these characters. And by this point, it's like, all right, you know what? Whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want to see these characters happy and like people really, really want this to be like It Part 2, where they're like, okay, so like wait about 10 years, bring back the old cast, and then have them have to stop another monster or something. And I'm like, I don't want to imagine. I don't want them to Ghostbusters Afterlife this and have my beloved characters not be friends and not succeed or have them be losers in the future. Like, I want them to be happy.
Yeah, and if they come back happy in 10 years to fight something new,
that's okay with me.
Maybe as like the mentors to a younger group of kids in Hawkins or something like that. I would love that. That's fantastic. But that has always been my biggest gripe. I think in storytelling, something that I fundamentally I cannot stand. And as a writer myself, I never write storylines like this. I don't want to know what's happening in the future.
Right.
I never like dystopian futures are a bad idea.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to invest in this cast when I know that they're bums? Like if the sequel comes out and they're bums and they're depressed, how could I ever go back and watch the original Stranger Things?
That's right.
Because I know that they're leading towards shit.
Yeah.
Now it's like, give them a happy ever after and then come back in a decade. And then I'd watch the hell out of that.
That's true.
Oh my God. As adults and like the actors could like be more physically threatening in a way and probably have more scenes, like more action scenes almost.
Oh, totally.
You could really genre shift. This story has moved across so many genres and mediums.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible. The fact that me and Sal have been talking about this for 35 minutes and we intended for this to be like probably one of the shorter things we do today.
Yeah.
But we're having fun. It's just a fun conversation about what is just like an incredibly well written, well paid off show. I love the setup. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm very excited for the setup. I like the ominous look over the skies as Hawkins is becoming the Upside Down.
Oh, yeah.
I love that we had. I would have not been happy with the season if Hopper didn't reunite with 11.
Yeah.
That felt great.
So good. Not only that was the thing where like my wife was just like so observant and she was like, she noticed that, how when 11 uses her powers to like slam the door, she doesn't slam the door. She leaves it 3 inches closed.
3 inches
open.
every time.
She was like, "Oh, it's 3 inches open." I'm like, "No shit, this is awesome."
The continuity's so good. He's such a good dad to her. The bracelet. Did you notice the bracelet continuity? The blue headband.
Yeah.
From his daughter to him, now to her.
So
and
good.
She wears it everywhere she goes.
Yeah, there is so much like, yeah. These guys love this show and they love these characters. I could imagine them being like, no, we create new characters to kill them so that we don't have to kill Max or,
honestly,
or 11.
Were you not terrified that Max was going to die?
100%. No, I was like...
Absolutely thought Max was over.
Yeah.
I mean, when she rises up and then I was like, no, save her. And then the leg breaks and then the arm breaks. And then Lucas, I can't. And then she dies.
Ugh.
And then the gate opens.
Yeah.
And even though 11 brought her back, it's like...
well, she already did die though. Like,
yeah.
So.
She did die. She actually did die, which like... oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, it rocked my reality.
Yeah.
I just couldn't understand what was happening.
No.
Because it was just so severe.
Yeah. But I love how much they love these characters. Like they refuse to let them die. Like even Dr. Owens, I don't think died.
No, he didn't. Which, hey, were you watching The Boys this season? Because Dr. Owens, playing sweet Dr. Owens in this, he's playing like an asshole in The Boys, just to show that actor's range. Because he's Soldier Boy's old friend from Vought, so he's like hanging out with him in scenes. But he's like a Hugh Hefner guy. He's talking about all the actors he's boned and whatever and all the things.
Paul
he's very
Reiser's
interesting.
So good. Well, he used to play. Yeah. Well, the whole reason why he's in the show is because he plays a character named Burke in Aliens, and he's like this character, but like a total scumbag. And so
I didn't know that.
You're meant to think like them casting him when Dr. Owens first shows up, you're supposed to immediately distrust him because you're like, oh no, he's Burke from Aliens. He's a scumbag. And then when he turns out to not be, you're like, oh, all right, good for him. And it just remains that way. But it's one of those things where it's another little reference that's like, oh, man.
Oh, and they're so good at that. And he's so good at being kind and like doing that stuff. Like, because you get mad at him. It's like, how dare you bring her to Papa, you little dumbass, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, this is what we set out to do. Yeah. I don't care about you and your bullshit. She's leaving.
Yeah.
We can make it here by nightfall. We're going to fly out. We'll be at Hawkins by sunrise, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, he's so diligent and he's ready to move. He's ready to make plans.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
What do you think about Robin's journey? Because I love Robin in her introduction, but this season I felt that it was a little... I wish that there was more. I don't like there being just like a sudden girl, like a sudden girl she likes, and I hope it works out off camera because that's the only time we have to dedicate to their relationship.
Yeah. So Robin initially like in love with that character.
Yeah.
Season 3, she's my favorite character. She's such a standout. And her dynamic with Steve, I think her dynamic with Steve persists in this one as a really fun, healthy thing.
Yeah.
I think she maybe talks about this girl last season too.
She does. She mentions
she tees it up. It's interesting. I got to see how it plays out. I wasn't necessarily that invested in it, but also it makes sense not to. I would have been more upset had they introduced a new girl who's just like openly gay into the friend group for Robin to date. I don't like characters from this like that. So I like that she's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
That it's not necessarily, and maybe they'll bring the girl into the fold in this season.
Yeah.
Which I would, or in this coming season, I think I'd really appreciate that.
That's fair.
But yeah, I there was definitely a little note of like, I don't love that this is background, But also she's aware. She's like, my love life doesn't matter in the grand scheme of us fighting these things, which, oh my God, such a little Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke child, because the way she talks is just so both of them together, where she's like going on these monologues, because sometimes I start talking and I don't really know how to stop, but I keep going and going. Robin!
Yeah.
It's like those moments are some of my
She's
favorite.
good. I didn't even know she was a byproduct of those two actors when I first saw her, but knowing that, you see so much of them, and it's like, oh, if you know, you're like, oh my God, like that. How could I have not noticed?
Right.
But she's good anyway, despite nepotism.
And a lot of people are hating on her because of the nepotism. I'm like, look, I hate nepotism babies, right? I cannot stand some of these actors who have gotten roles for being just trash.
Yeah.
The Godfather immediately came to mind. I believe there was an actress in The Godfather 3 that was the daughter of the director. And
Sophia
sucks.
Coppola.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, she's atrocious. I hear she might be a director now. I don't know what she's doing.
She's been a director for like 20 years, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She made Lost
But
in Translation and Marie Antoinette.
I have not seen either of those. Maybe I'll look into it to see if she's good now, because she was terrible in that movie.
I don't like her direction, but people do like it. Like,
okay, well, good. There's a fan base for it. But yeah, I don't like nepotism stuff. But you can't deny like the Maya Hawks and the Jack Quaids of the world that are coming in and they're nepotism babies, but they're like incredible at what they do.
Yeah.
So suck it, guys.
Kurt Russell's a nepotism baby. You know?
Yeah. Oh my God! And his son, who's now his name?
Not Captain America.
Not Captain America is a nepotism baby. But sometimes we get some really cool stuff out of it.
That's true.
And sometimes you don't. Chris Hemsworth's daughter, whether she wants to pursue acting or not, is now Love and Thunder, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. But not knowing that gave me a lot of room to fall in love with that character and fall in love with that actress, and just it's so incredible.
Yeah.
We could go on. I honestly think we could probably talk about this for an hour.
It's
and
true.
I would look. I'm not going to say no. Hey, next season 5, Sal, we should do a Stranger Things podcast and watch every episode.
Yes.
And just review the whole thing, every episode, just because this would be so much fun. Because I'm fully obsessed with this universe. Another thing I did, which if you guys have a little bit of extra money and you could pay for this, get immersion lights for your TV just for this show.
Yeah.
Because I watched it initially. When I first watched it, I had to watch it like as soon as I could. And I was in LA and I couldn't be home. I couldn't watch it on TV. I had to watch some of it on my phone, which sucked. And I hated that. Still an incredible story. I have an 85-inch TV, which is just a blessing. And we got immersion lights for it. So my friend's been watching it with the immersion lights. And whenever the lightning strikes and the red lightning, the whole room like lights up red for a second. This show is the perfect show to watch.
Awesome.
That. Like that product was made for Stranger Things, is what it feels like.
It's so worth it. All right, now I have to look into it.
It's cheap. I'll send you a link to the one that I got.
Please, yeah.
It's not the nice one that plugs the HDMI cord. It's the one with like a camera on top of your TV. I thought it was going to get annoying. Not annoying at all, and it makes my stuff awesome. I'm going to send you a picture of it later.
Please, yeah.
But yeah, any final thoughts? Anything left?
I love this show. I've loved this show. And this season was awesome, and it was like fun and scary and cool and tragic. And my only hope is that the next season I loved the experience of the last 2 episodes being full-length movies, basically. And I'm okay if they want to do that again. If they just want the whole damn thing to be like every episode is a 2-hour movie, because I'm sold. Like I will watch a 2-hour epised of like a 10-episode series.
It's written so well that you don't feel it. Somebody in our chat actually said something earlier. I feel better about watching. I don't know what it was, but it was something. It was it feels easier to digest like 13 or oh no, they said it backwards. I disagree with them. They said it feels easier to digest 13 to 60-minute episodes rather than 10 90-minute ones.
No,
I disagree. For whatever reason, the formatting of this worked perfectly for me, and the finale is longer, and I think that's a good idea. The finale is a movie within itself.
Right.
The finale, and especially for this one, oh my God, this is the goodbye.
Yeah,
this is gonna be the goodbye. Which, dude, I mean, I haven't
Not
lived
ready
in
to
a
say
Stranger
goodbye.
Things free world since I was, almost in middle school, early high school for me.
Yeah,
and I'm 24 now, so I'll be well into the back half of my 20s saying goodbye to the show.
Yeah,
and it's a crazy thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start answering those backstage Georgia casting calls. See if I can get in the background of this final season.
Seriously,
honestly.
that's something where it's like this is I would like to be. I don't need even. I'd like to watch them film a scene. I don't
Yeah.
even need, but it's something I want to be a part of in some way. Like I want to be able to like connect myself to it.
I know a crazy amount of people that are in it because they do backstage casting calls, and it's in Atlanta. So a lot of people from Birmingham, Alabama, where I'm at, will fly out and go do that. And I'm absolutely like I already have a backstage account. I'm already gonna go look into it.
Nice.
And make sure I get myself in on this because oh my god,
Yeah.
wow.
No, it's amazing. Any predictions?
Man,
So many.
I feel like we're gonna have to lose some core members into this final season. I would be shocked if they didn't, but also I don't know. I love that we didn't lose Max. I really, really hope that, like, obviously her broken bones need to heal naturally. I don't want her to lose her vision, not because I'm trying to be ableist, but because I think that character deserves to see her future.
I agree,
and to see a beautiful future for her because she has lived a terribly sad life.
That's the thing, right? Like, yeah, and I think because of what she's been through, it's like let's assume Max is safe now. Like, let's assume that like what she's going through is enough. Let's not worry about her also being murdered because like that'd be just insult to injury.
Maybe Mike dying wouldn't be the worst thing.
I don't think it would be the worst thing. I think it'd be very
redeeming
sad.
himself significantly. I think it'd be really sad, but Mike's death is easily the catalyst for the most growth in everybody. Yeah. I would say we've hinged too much of Eleven's life on her relationship with Mike though. Yeah. So it definitely leaves us in like a what do we do with her?
Right, but she is like supposed to be 13, so it's like what's she gonna marry this guy? Come on, like it's okay.
Right. It could be okay. We'll have to see. I definitely don't want a tragedy to befall Joyce and Hopper. I want the Byers family to stay safe. I think that they've gone through far too much right now. So I want them to be safe. Potentially, like, the teacher is going to come back who we saw before. We'll kill him off. He's great, but we'll kill him off because we'll kill off some Hawkins staples without killing them off. But man, it's going to be a wild ride. And remember, these actors are going to be 2 years older so they're
going to look like adults.
I mean, they do already. Like, oh my God, Lucas comes in with the flat top fade and his basketball jersey. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you look older than me. What the hell? Jeez. So we'll have to see. I would love to, I would love to watch them throw down with Vecna and to have the regular people take down Vecna rather than 11. Yeah. I don't know if that rivalry is earned yet. It's getting there, right? But it feels like you don't really understand why Vecna got his powers, and you don't understand why Vecna latched on to 11. Yeah, the way he did. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna paint us a better picture there, and we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. I've never been more excited for a show. That's the only thing coming on that's original. It's not a comic book. It's not an adaptation. It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. Yeah, it's Stranger Things. Yeah, and it is what it is. And like, I wish there was more TV like that. I hate that I have to wait 2 years to experience something so enriching. Yeah, in my opinion.
That's fair. And justice for Will's haircut. Let's hope he gets a new one.
God damn. It's such a bad haircut. He looks there's like a meme of like him turned over like this, and it's like a thumb with like a wig on it. He goes, what Mike saw. If y'all wondering why Mike didn't cover him, this is what Mike was looking at.
It's like, ugh. I have an in-canon reason for that, and it's just that Joyce has been cutting his hair the whole time, and she won't
let him go to a barber because she's scared. She's like, I don't want someone to cut his skin.
No, they have scissors. Those things are sharp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's my last thoughts. I guess we're wrapped on this one. This is basically a Stranger Things podcast. Enjoy our 48-minute episode on discussing what we love about Stranger Things, and drop comments below if there's enough. If you guys like this and you want more of it, please beg for it.
Yeah, we'll talk about more.
Benny didn't let me do a sequel to this because he thought it was the lowest performing video on the channel, and then it ended up performing later. So if you like this, comment on it like crazy. I'm always in our comment section on videos that are me in it because I'm a narcissist and I scroll to look for my name. So like, I reply to your comments and stuff, and I read all of them. So please comment about Stranger Things. I would love to talk more about it. And if you have gripes with this season, you really hate it, I'd love to like see your point of view and whether it's just completely stupid or like you have valid things, because you maybe have like a really valid thought process that I haven't gotten to yet. Yeah. So, once again, we're sponsored here by G Fuel. So use code COMICS at checkout for 10% off. We want you guys to subscribe, join the absolute armada, and now we have YouTube membership. So if you are feeling really called to be a part of the team and to fund what we do here, because Sal has a job, I have a job separate to this, and we just spent 50 minutes talking about Absolutely. We would love a little bit of a bigger paycheck on that one. So we'd love any support we could get there. But also, hey, it's not obligatory. Just whatever you feel like doing, we'll see your name and your badges, and we'll definitely be replying replying to your comments. But yeah, we love Stranger Things. We hope you love Stranger Things. But we're absolutely. And I'm Hassan. That's Sal. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Bye.